Good morning, everyone, all the way from Thailand. Today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that is quite important simply because so many people get in trouble because of this topic. And what I'm talking about is speech, specifically right speech. In another video, I already gave you the criteria for wrong speech, but now let's talk about right speech, and there's 5 things. This is what I love so much about wisdom from the East, just because it gives you a clear-cut criteria. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you have these criteria, now you can make your decisions based off of it. Many times we need to engage in difficult conversations or just conversations in general. But without these criteria, then we're just talking. And having a criteria, having a boundary that tells you what is the proper way to have speech and most effective, then it can be helpful. Meeting with people in the West, when we went to the United States, a lot of times people are in this space, young people, we talk to you, and you're in this space of, I want to speak authentically. I want to speak 100% my truth, and I want to just share what I want to share. And well, okay, sure, that can be helpful at times, but also at times it can also not be wise. We need these criteria to know just not to speak just because you're feeling it, not to speak just because it comes to the top of your mind, but now let's use wisdom. And when it comes to speech, I would imagine that many of you, the goal would be to be effective in your speech. Get your message across, get the other person to hear it, and be an effective communicator. So with that, we need these criteria so you can accomplish this goal. Otherwise, it defeats the whole purpose. Yes, you're speaking 100%. Yes, you're speaking your truth, but no one can hear you. So again, it defeats the purpose. But now, let's use the wisdom. Let's come back. And with that, I'm going to give you 5 criteria that you can base your decisions off of when it comes to speech. Proper timing. Our speech needs to come at the proper time in the right context, because yes, it's important to speak truthfully and get our voice heard, but also take into the context. When is it appropriate and when is it not appropriate? The person that you're trying to talk to, does it need to be in a private setting? Are you just speaking so that other people can hear you? Well, that might not be so wise. Are you speaking at a time where the person who's receiving the message, they're in a bad mood or they're busy? And you see this a lot where employees will try to talk to their boss, and then the boss is so frantic. The boss has 100 things on their plate. They just finished a meeting. They just got off of a phone call where they're distracted in their thoughts. And then you want to present an idea to them at that moment. Wrong timing. They cannot hear you. So for us as the practitioner, we need to really assess of when is the proper time, and what can be helpful is see, is that person in a space that is calm? Is the person in a space where they can actually talk and give you the time to listen, and they're not going from one thing to another? Then when they are busy, you try to talk to them, they shut you down, then now we take it personally. Now we have a new issue, and I did not feel heard. Now I feel like you rejected me. I took things personal, but the issue can just be it's not the proper timing. Sometimes you're trying to have clear the air because you have a little conflict. And again, maybe the person is still heated. And maybe sometimes in that moment we might need space so then you can find clarity for yourself. You can give them a time to cool down, and then they can have clarity as well and can come to the table where now we can feel heard. But there are so many conditions, there are so many different scenarios, and you have to utilize your wisdom. But one thing to run your decisions by when it comes to our speech is double check. Is this the proper timing to have this conversation? Is this the proper timing for me to say what I'm about to say? So take that into account. What is said is true. This is important because when we're trying to get our point across, when we're in relationships with other people, sometimes we have agendas. We have hidden agendas and we want to get our point across. At times then, because of that, then we may omit things, meaning leave out specific information. We may, because we want to get our point across or prove something, we may stretch the truth a little bit. We may even bend the truth a little bit. How many of you have experienced this, where you twist and turn and hide, and what you're saying is not truly truthful? So this can impact our speech. But if you can, and to help us be effective, is double check. What I am saying and what I am presenting, is it fully truthful? And this is one other gauge that can be helpful for us along this path. Spoken gently. Is what you're about to say spoken gently to the other person? For those who are in a relationship, long-term relationship, how many times have you heard this saying? It's not what you said, but it's how you said it. And this is quite important because of the tone. And not only is it the tones, but it's the words that you use. If it's too harsh, is it abrasive? Is it condescending? Is it talking down to me? Is it judging me? When it does that, then again, the receiver cannot hear you. So not only is what you're saying important, not only is it truthful and factual, but how is it presented? So with that, always come back to using words that are gentle and kind, using your feeling and tone. Again, the more clear, the more present you can become. That is not neutrally charged, where you're ready to attack someone, then now they can hear you better. But something that can be helpful in this space, like I said, if you're not in a place where you can have a conversation where you're fully heated and reactive, probably not so good. Take time to just cool down, because you can fake the funk, but it will ooze out of you. And I see this so many times when I'm working with children and their families in the therapy context. And because of simply the tone of the caretaker, the kids are already shut down. And then now we're ready to go to battle. But this is something that we have to work on and we have to smooth over. But underlying it is really how it is presented, again, with the words and tone. And if possible, let's take time to soften it. Is it beneficial? What you're saying, does it help others? And the quote that comes to my mind that people struggle with is sometimes people talk just to hear themselves talk. Have you experienced this before? But really, when we are sharing things with others, come back to seeing what I'm sharing. Is it helpful to that person? Maybe for you, you may want to provide education to someone. Again, does it apply to them? Does it help them? Some of you may want to prove your point or to help other people. But again, is it helping just you? Does it make you feel good because you got to share that? Because you went through that experience and it's helpful to you. But again, with regarding speech, coming back to effectiveness is double check and really come from a humble place and see and be clear of what I'm sharing with the other person. Will it really help them? Even the feedback. And sometimes we need to have difficult conversations. It's okay. But what I find is helpful is just coming back to if it truly is helpful and beneficial to the other person, your chance and percentage of success will increase dramatically. Is it spoken with a mind of loving kindness? This right here, I can see it as attached to your intention. What is underlining and where is it coming from? This conversation that you're having with this person. I think it's important to come from a pure place, a kind and loving space of maybe I want to heal this relationship. Maybe I'm coming from a kindness of I want to take full responsibility. Maybe it's coming from a place of I want to truly apologize. I am asking for your forgiveness. But it's important because many times we can get into our heads and we're not sure. And we can justify and we can delude ourselves. But if we can double check, is it coming from a good place? And is my intentions pure? So there you have it. These are the 5 criteria if you're gonna have a conversation with others, but specifically if you're gonna have a difficult conversations, take time to run through all of this. And what is helpful that I say time and time again, this is why meditation is important. This is why stillness is important. So taking the time to allow your mind to come to a stillness, getting yourself calm and peaceful and clear. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to achieve? Are you coming from a loving place that is not hidden with agendas and resentment and greed and anger? Then this will be helpful. But again, I just wanted to share this because as I was going through my path in the lay life, I didn't have these criterias. And by having these requirements, these criterias that I can judge my speech around, it could have saved me so much heartache. It could have saved me so much unnecessary conflict. But as always, I hope this is helpful for you. But just wanted to share my blessings to you and your family all the way from Thailand. And be safe, everyone. Satu.